Hey everybody, it's Matt from the house, and I'm here with Jayson from Burton and Mr. Dave Downing, and we're going to talk to you a little about taper on a snowboard, and what does it mean and what does it do? Let's check this out. All right, so if you're ever shopping for a snowboard and you see those numbers, taper, 10 millimeters of taper, 12 millimeters of taper, it can be confusing if you don't know what it is. In fact, you know, me working in this industry since 95, when I first saw taper, I was just like, what is that? And the crazy thing is I actually knew what it was, but I didn't know it actually had a name. Dave rides taper a lot. And why don't you go ahead and give us a little run through on exactly what taper is and what it does for a board.
Yeah, Matt. So taper on a snowboard basically means the width of the nose is wider than the width in the tail. So that's the taper of the width towards the tail. What that does, you know, it does two things. The main thing is having this wider in the nose and narrower in the tail in powder helps your board sink, right? Because there's less pressure. So you're not having to push on your tail to keep your nose afloat. It just naturally does that. So that taper does that. Different boards have different amounts of taper. This is a Power Wrench, and this has like 20 millimeters of taper, so there's quite a bit. Really easy in powder. And then there's other boards that have a little bit less, like this is the Hometown Hero, and having a little bit of taper also allows the snowboard to turn really well, like enter a turn and exit a turn really easy. So it does have an advantage on hard pack as well, not just powder. Yeah, and it's a big thing too that I always said that, like there's other boards too, like the Hideaway. How much does that have? Yeah, the Hideaway has like 3 mils of taper, 3 millimeters, so it's just a little bit, and that's kind of an entry level, really easy to ride board, and we do that. We put the 3 millimeters on there to make it easier to turn, enter and exit a turn, you know.
And one thing that I always said too, just to kind of demonstrate it, is that, you know, you think about your side cut basically, and you got these 2 different side cuts, and with taper, essentially what it's doing is it's taking it and it's pushing it forward a little bit. So it's almost like you got more in the nose, less in the tail. And it actually, you know, like Dave was saying, it actually helps enter the turns and then come out of the turns nice and easy. But the really cool thing that I noticed about it is, especially in those entry-level boards, when you're learning to ride switch, now it's actually going slowly into the turn, but the back is actually kind of pushing you a little bit. So it actually can help you a little bit to learn how to ride switch. So it's definitely not something that you're only gonna see in powder boards, which obviously it excels in powder boards. Jayson, I know you really like it, especially on the Hometown Hero, because of actually where the taper is.
Yeah, and it really, like, we use it for different things in different boards, but and it's the way that they've adjusted the bends and everything, they are a lot more versatile. Especially, like, we call it bounce free ride, but what it is the taper is actually past the contact point on hardpack. So everything is really neutral. So you get on a calf burning, you know, traverse or whatever, you can flip this thing around, ride switch, learn how to ride switch, hit the park, whatever. But that taper's there when you really lay it over.
Only in deeper snow.
In deep snow, then it gets, that's where it really planes out, and that's where you really see the benefit. So
because the taper's past the contact point.
So and it's super versatile, and it rides great and everything. You know, like Deep Thinker is like one of my favorite boards. You know, and it's like 7. You know, so it's just a little bit.
And you can ride backwards on it.
Ride switch as much as I need to.
For sure.
And it's pretty cool too, because a lot of times you look at a board, especially like the Hometown Hero, where we look at this thing and you can see
it's directional, you know.
Yeah, you can see how wide it is. But again, like you were saying, when you actually set it down and we look at the end of the channel here, but the contact points are actually all very, very similar. That wide point is beyond those contact points. So again, when it's on that flat snow, it feels closer to a twin tip board than you would think. So, you know, like these guys were saying, it's really easy to ride switch on it, and it doesn't feel as weird as you think it would, just because, again, that taper is there when you need it in that board, and it's not there when you don't need it.
It's not in the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more people should be riding taper, I think, than what they are, you know.
Especially in powder, or if, you know, you've been struggling riding powder or choppy snow, you know, or ski resort or whatever, and, you know, having a little bit of taper in a board really just helps you. Just stay
taper,
afloat,
set back.
push through that crud, you know, it's like a lot easier.
Yeah, not burning your back leg.
Yep.
All right, well, thanks for checking out our video about taper, and hopefully now you know a little bit more about it, and it can actually help you when you see a board online and it says that it's got, you know, 20 millimeters of taper, you know what that's gonna do for you. Or if it's just got 3 millimeters of taper, you know, obviously it's probably gonna help you in a little bit different way. But if you got any questions beyond what we talked about in the video, leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We wanna make sure we get you into some rad gear, but more importantly, we wanna make sure that's gonna actually fit your riding style and work best for you. Like, subscribe, definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. And yeah, whether you're riding a little bit more beginner board with a little less taper, or you're getting into some POW and you need some big taper, grab yourself a board and get out and ride, because any day riding is a good day riding.